The Niger Labour Congress, NLC, has criticized the recent hike in petrol pump prices, calling it highly insensitive to the plight of the masses. The hike, which raised prices to between 1,050 and 1,150 per litre, has been attributed to rising crude oil costs, according to oil marketers and the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. However, the NLC argues that the government failed to engage stakeholders before implementing the price increase. NLC Deputy President Professor Theophilus Ndubuaku emphasized the need for inclusive dialogue, urging President Bola Tinubu to adopt consultative strategies like those of former leaders. Now, he warned that the hike could exacerbate inflation and economic hardship, urging authorities to prioritize transparency and collaboration on policies affecting workers and the broader public. So, talking about the fuel price hike, earlier, a public affairs analyst, Dr. Jide Johnson, joined us live to shed more light on the implications of the fuel price increase. Now, the tax reform bill is well on the way to find expression in the country. The chairman of the Presidential Committee on Tax Policy and Fiscal Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, disclosed this at a forum in Lagos. Now, Oyedele said the National Assembly will pass the controversial tax reform bills into law in the first quarter of 2025. The NAS is expected to resume deliberations on the bills after the suspension of actions on it last year, and if it is passed, the tax reform law will be implemented from July. The President Bola Tinubu on the 13th of October 2024 asked the National Assembly to consider and pass 4 tax reform bills which became controversial due to some of its recommendations. Now, the death toll in the petrol tanker explosion at Diko Junction near the Suleja in Niger State has risen to 86, with 55 persons injured and receiving treatment at the hospital. Now, by Saturday, when the incident happened, the death toll was put at 70 and 50 injured. However, more corpses have been recovered and given mass burial in Diko. A speeding fuel tanker crashed on Saturday morning in Diko Junction between Niger and Ondo State. Authorities say a combined team of several response agencies attributed the cause of the explosion to the transfer of PMS from one tanker to another as residents scooped petrol spilling on the ground. Our correspondent Joshua Imarai was on ground and filed this report.
It is a black Saturday for residents of Niger State, north-central Nigeria. The tanker explosion that rocked the popular Diko Junction in the Gurara area local government of the state.
Like how many people have died here?
For now, we have counted 73 on the ground. We have 23 in the General Hospital Suleja, injured, severely injured, badly damaged. We have 25 in Sabowuse General Hospital 2, and we have 8 in the Diko here, the primary care here. We have 8 of them there.
What went on today here is a sad day for many Nigerians, and is a black Saturday for residents of Niger State.
What happened today is avoidable, because if the flatbed on top of the tanker carrying about 60,000 hydrocarbon was properly lashed, even if the tanker comes to a bad road, the driver will be able to control the movement of the tank on top of the vehicle.
An eyewitness who witnessed the explosion shared his experience.
So this tanker is about to go in. When he followed the one way, the road safety diverted him to follow the right way. As from there, the tanker just fell down. So they bring another vehicle to come and pack the fuel. From there, the fire just catch it.
The state government has announced plans to commence funeral rites for those who lost their lives as a result of the explosion. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Well, such a sad one there. Now, to more stories, President Bola Tinubu, the former President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as other national leaders have expressed deep sorrow over the fuel tanker explosion, which caused the death of over 80 people, with many also injured. In a statement released on Sunday, President Bola Tinubu expressed deep sorrow over the tragedy, offering condolences to the victims' families and the people and government of Niger State. The president condemned the incident, calling it both tragic and preventable, as many of the victims were reportedly scooping fuel from an overturned tanker. Tinubu ordered immediate medical care for the injured and directed security and road safety agencies to take swift action to prevent such disasters in the future. Now, the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, has won 16 out of the 18 chairmanship seats in the local government elections in Ondo State. The chairman of the Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission, ODIC, Joseph Aimo, declared this at the headquarters of the commission in Akure on Sunday. Now, he noted that while the rescheduled election is being held in Ondo West local government area, results are being expected from Owa local government area. Only 12 political parties contested for the chairmanship and councillorship offices in the elections held on Saturday. Ahead of the poll, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, announced its decision to withdraw from the election, saying it does not believe in the Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct a credible election. We're still talking politics. The Labour Party in Nasarawa State has reaffirmed its full support for National Chairman Julius Abure, aiming to take the party to greater height. The state chapter also congratulated Abure on his recent victory at the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which validated the party's March 2024 National Convention in Anambra and confirmed his leadership. The judgment delivered by Justice Hama Barker relied on the previous ruling on November 2024 in a case involving the Labour Party and the Independent National Electoral Commission. State Chairman Alexander Ombugu praised the court's decision, calling it a testament to Nigeria's legal system and the party's commitment to democratic principles. He urged aggrieved members to resolve differences amicably to ensure the party's success in the 2027 elections. And now it's time to go on a short break, and when we come back, academic activities resume as ASU ends strike in Taraba University. We have the details of this story and more after the break. Join us again. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Taraba State University chapter, has called off its strike, which began on the 5th of December 2024. In a statement released on Saturday in Jalingo and signed by the union's chairperson, Dr. Garba Joshua, the strike was attributed to the state government's partial implementation of agreements concerning university funding, payment of earned academic allowances, and minimum wage adjustments. Now, Joshua thanked Governor Agbu Kefis for his leadership and intervention in resolving the issues, as well as the Ministry of Tertiary Education and the public for their support. The state government has pledged to address the union's concerns, committing to disburse 10% of the earned academic allowance arrears, with payments set to commence in February 2025. Meanwhile, the university's second semester examinations are scheduled to resume in the coming days. Now, Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has approved the distribution of new kits and uniforms to personnel of the Nigeria Police Force as part of efforts to improve officers' welfare and enhance professionalism. The initiative, announced by the Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi on Saturday, aligns with Egbetokun's vision to improve working conditions and raise professional standards within the force. Egbetokun also expressed optimism that the approval of the 2025 budget will facilitate more welfare-focused projects to further support officers. The Nigeria Police Force says it remains committed to maintaining a well-equipped and motivated workforce to ensure the safety and security of all Nigerians. So, talking war against terrorism, the Defense Headquarters has announced that troops of Operation Fansayama killed terrorist leader Bello Turji's son and many of his fighters during clearance operations on the 17th of January. The operations targeted the Shinkafi, Kagara, Fakai, Muriki, Maiwa and Chindo axis, resulting in the destruction of the terrorists' logistical base. Major General Edward Buba confirmed that Turji's son was killed at Fakai High Ground, where the terrorists were hiding. He also criticized and declared Turji a coward for abandoning his son and fighters. Now, the operations led to the rescue of several kidnapped victims. Additionally, in a separate operation, troops neutralized 3 terrorists and arrested 3 collaborators at a camp linked to another kingpin Idi Malam in Zango Kagara Forest. We're still in the north, but let's talk road rehabilitation now. Economic activities, including farming, with improved healthy living, are among the new breath of life to be experienced by the members of Tudunwada Kabon communities in Plateau State, following a new road construction in the area. Now, it's a 6.95-kilometer road that has witnessed a facelift within the 21 months of Governor Caleb Mutfwang's stay in office. News Central's Chizoba Anyewe tells us more.
Residents of Tudunwada and Kabon communities cannot contain their joy at the road construction work in recent times within their communities, noting the challenges they had faced in the past.
Honestly speaking, for the past 4 years that I live here, when I cough, it's just dust that I normally used to bring it out.
Our machine, they spoil for this road. You go buy machine before 1 year, go don't spoil. How we go do? How we go manage with your family?
I suffer, no be small. My children, they don't feel come outside because of dust. My house, before I will sleep, I will carry a bedsheet, remove the dust before I will sleep. I suffer, I cry.
If there is rainy season, you can't climb the bike, because when you climb the bike, you fall with the bike. You injure yourself, you end up in the hospital.
It is a 6.95-kilometer road that has been left fallow. Government administrations have come and gone, but this time around, these community people are gladdened for this new phase of life.
I sleep on top of the titi yesterday. I turn. I feel like I'm in heaven. I thank Munufa very, very much.
We dey pray so God go help Caleb Mutfwang with the people, with the community. All this community, we dey pray for Caleb Mutfwang.
Thank God to this governor. He has remembered us. Indeed, he's a man of his word. He promised to visit this Kabon community, and he has done it.
Authorities in Plateau State say members of this community should expect more basic amenities.
Those houses that we need to shift, they need to understand that the little we have for the compensation, they will not get all now because not all is released. So, but they have to give way so that this road will continue.
We promised that we're going to fix this road. Today you can see that we are keeping to our promises. Yes. We are not going to relent. We are going to make sure that this road gets to the last point.
Safeguard this road, keep it well, guard the street lights, and ensure that every government facility is well protected.
And as a local government, we are going to support His Excellency with other facilities like primary health care and even water supply within the community.
We have gone 60 so far, 40% expected to be. Because this was a too tedious terrain which we have overcome now. Here is just compensation, demolition, and alignment. We forge ahead.
It is expected that this road rehabilitation project, when completed, will pave the way for smooth transportation, reduce the risk of accidents, and promote economic growth, among others. In Jos, Plateau State, for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyewe.
Now, Justice Chukwu Jeku Aneke of the Federal High Court, Lagos, has fixed February 13th for the arraignment of the group chairman of Honeywell Group, Oba Otudeko, as well as the former Chief Executive Officer, Managing Director of First Bank PLC, Stephen Olabisi Onosoya, and 2 others on alleged 12.3 billion naira fraud. Now, the other 2 defendants are a former board member of Honeywell, Soji Akin Tayo, and a firm, Anchorage Leisure Limited. The arraignment had initially been fixed for Monday, January 20th, but none of the defendants were present in court. They were, however, all represented by their respective counsel, who told the court that they were not served with the court processes by the prosecuting agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. But the EFCC-led counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo San, said in response that between the 16th and 19th of January, it took steps to ensure that the defendants were produced in court for their arraignment, but they couldn't be reached. The EFCC has now gotten the nod of the court to serve the defendants by leaving the documents at the last known addresses of the defendants. Only the counsel to the second defendant, Adeyinka Olumide Fusika San, accepted service of the court documents in open court, saying his client is ready to defend himself of all the accusations. Now, according to the EFCC, the 4 defendants committed the alleged fraud in tranches of 5.2 billion naira, 6.2 billion naira, 1.5 billion naira, and 500 million naira between 2013 and 2014 in Lagos. Among other alleged offences, they are accused of conspiring to obtain the sum of 12.3 billion naira from First Bank Limited on the pretense that the said sum represented credit facilities applied for by VTech Dynamic Links Limited and Stallion Nigeria Limited, which representation they knew to be false. Right now, to give us more updates on this story, we're joined by Omolola Ololade, who's on standby currently. Omolola, good morning. Can you hear me? So what's the update in court now?
Oh, yes, we're at, Federal High Court here in Ikoyi, where we have just witnessed the supposed arraignment of the chairman of Honeywell Group, Oba Otudeko, the former managing director of First Bank, Stephen Onosonya, and of course one of the board members of Honeywell, which is of course Soji Akitayo, and the last defendant, which is Anchorage Leisure Limited. We did, why I mentioned supposed arraignment was because this entire arraignment was supposed to be for today, Monday, 20th of January, but unfortunately it has been postponed to February 13th by Justice Chukwudeku Aneke, which it was postponed because, the 4 defendants did mention that their prosecutors are not there. I mean, defendants were not here. The 4 defendants were not present in court today, but they were all represented by their counsels. And the counsels did mention that they didn't get any court processes from the prosecuting agency, which is the EFCC, and that's one of the reasons why none of the defendants was present. They did say that they didn't get any court processes, and in response to that, the legal counsel, for EFCC, that is Rotimi Oyedepo, he did say that between 16th and 19th of January, he did try to reach, all the 4 defendants to serve them court processes so that they can be present for today's arraignment, but all to no avail. And in the courtroom, one of the legal counsel for the second defendant, which is former managing director of First Bank, that is talking about Stephen did say that he would be, his clients will be open to, any arraignment, provided that they are being given a court process. The letter is being given to them and it's being done officially that they would be present in the courtroom because he's sure that his client would defend himself of all accusations.
All right, thank you so much for the update, Omolola Ololade, who's currently in Ikoyi in the court where the proceeding is ongoing, and News Central will definitely bring you up to speed on the development as it goes. And now to more stories. A young Almajiri boy from Ondo State, Suleiman Adam, known as Abba Kaka, has turned his life around with a simple display of his creative talent. After developing a detailed artistic replica of the recently inaugurated overhead bridge, his work went viral thanks to a report by News Central Television. This remarkable story has led to life-changing opportunities for the young, talented African boy. News Central's Moru Kirawa, who has been following up with the Young Boys Initiative, completes this report.
6 days after the report of the young African talent, Abba Kaka Adam, the Borno State government has stepped in.
The Zulum administration has always prioritized the education of the less privileged child. You could clearly see that this is a child with a very high IQ, extremely intelligent boy. So I have decided that as part of the component of innovation in our ministry where we harness talents, I am going to enroll him back in a regular school so that he will have a proper education background so that eventually we could have an architect in him. I have spoken to the commandant of the command school here in Maiduguri to enroll him on state scholarship. So he's going to be sponsored free and would follow up as he spends the first 3 years We will enroll him into a proper technical school where he would realize his dream of being an architect.
We moved to Command Science Secondary School, Auno, where the young Abakaka was admitted on a full scholarship, supported with books, uniforms, sandals, mattress, among others, to ensure he receives a quality education.
In this
school, we have over 300 students brought in by the state government. So, as you can see, you have entered our classes and you have seen, and we hope that what we are doing will going to be appreciated and will be supported.
Abakaka's parents were also provided with financial aid of 250,000 naira for the upkeep of the boy and to improve their living standards.
Alhamdulillah, askrinya ala rangala ala nera mukwara sir ala kijira sir askrinya ala tara yanku monti so ala kijin tamayo.
Ala gumnati ya kamande ala ba hafsu kuma asin da baraza askrinya uduna ingana na yimba udebura dai gumnati no yi gozuna alhamdulillah ni jeri dama kirawa ni ma dem lem fanni so room fanni so ko to so gonum dai isum so do ham dai isa akira wa is huwono dai askrinya ala kamande ala nyendir mu kwaza kamande askrinya wallahi tara yin
These are some of the drawings made by Abakaka during his leisure time.
Umaru Kirawa has helped us by making sure that he connects the family of this boy and the Honorable Commissioner, and we're very, very impressed that in less than 24 hours of the entire thing, this child is now enrolled in schools, and he's not only enrolled in school, but one of the best schools that we have in the Northeast, because we have seen how productive and how progressive-minded the students of this school are. Some of us have one or two relatives coming to this school, and we have seen how progressive these kids are and how different they are from their other peers that are outside there.
The Borno State government has pledged to continue to support talented individuals as part of recovery effort for the state after years of Boko Haram insurgency.
Governor Zulum has set aside over 10 billion naira this year for scholarships just for these purposes. And it is our intention to build our citizenry so that we become a hub for innovation and skilled workers in future.
Abakaka's story is a powerful reminder of the transformative impact of creativity and the need to empower more children from underprivileged communities. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
That was the report on the young and Majiri boys' creativity by our correspondent Umaru Kirawa. It's time now to go on a short break. When we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now to more stories. The Ondo State government has launched an extensive rehabilitation of its 8 technical colleges, aiming to transform them into top vocational training centers. The project, funded by the World Bank through the Ondo State Economic Transformation Project, OGSTEP, is designed to standardize technical education and equip students with industry-relevant skills. Mrs. Simbo Olayinka, the communication officer of OGSTEP, confirmed the initiative's goals in a statement. During an inspection at the Government Science and Technical College in Ijebu-Ode, Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Dakpo Okubadijo, praised the progress, emphasizing the introduction of modern equipment and smart classrooms and standardized practices. The project also supports teacher development and fosters industry partnerships to offer hands-on experiences, benefiting both students and local businesses. Now, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, will unveil its 2025 Seasonal Climate Prediction, SCP, on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. Themed the role of early warnings towards a climate-resilient aviation industry for sustainable socio-economic development, the presentation will offer critical climate forecasts for the year. NIMET's Director General, Professor Charles Anosike, highlighted the importance of the SCP in addressing climate-related impacts on sectors like agriculture, aviation, health, oil and gas, and water resources management. The 2025 SCP will include forecasts on rainfall, temperature, and the onset and cessation date of the rainy season, as well as vigilance warnings for malaria and meningitis. The Minister of Aviation, Mr. Festus Keyamo, will officially present the SCP alongside translations and a summary for policymakers. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Amnesty International has reported that both the Democratic Republic of Congo's army and a Rwanda-backed militia have likely violated the rules of war by firing explosives into civilian areas. The rights group says more than 100 civilians were killed in eastern DRC during the first half of 2024 due to the indiscriminate use of ground-launched rockets. Both the Congolese army and the M23 movement, which claims to defend ethnic Tutsis, are responsible for using inaccurate weapons in densely populated areas. Since late 2021, M23 forces, backed by 3,000 to 4,000 Rwandan soldiers, have seized parts of the mineral-rich East, worsening the humanitarian crisis. Amnesty called for the International Criminal Court to investigate these attacks as potential war crimes. Despite efforts to end the violence, clashes continue, with the M23 taking control of Lumbishi in South Kivu on Saturday. Now, violence has erupted in South Sudan, with 12 people killed in the past 2 days in attacks targeting citizens from neighboring Sudan. The clashes were sparked by reports of 29 South Sudanese killed in Sudan's Al Jazeera state, leading to the looting of Sudanese-owned businesses in the capital, Juba. Now, police fired on protesters, killing 3 and injuring 7. A curfew was imposed, but protests spread to other towns, resulting in 9 deaths in Awel. Despite the unrest, police report the situation is relatively calm, and the streets of Juba appeared calm on Saturday evening with a heavy police presence. South Sudan President Salva Kiir has called for restraint. Over 600 Sudanese have been taken to army headquarters for protection, and 278 others are under police protection. The violence highlights the ongoing tensions between South Sudan and Sudan, which have been exacerbated by the conflict in Sudan that began in April 2023. Now, Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye has been placed in solitary confinement at Luzira Maximum Security Prison. Besigye, who is on trial for charges including treason, is being held in a cell where he's not allowed to interact with other prisoners or attend prayers. He's only permitted to speak to visitors, including family members, via telephone. Now, prison officials have refused to allow supporters to provide Besigye with food from outside the prison. His wife, Winnie Byanyima, alleges that he was kidnapped in Kenya in November and is now facing prosecution on trumped-up charges. The trial has sparked concerns about the suppression of opposition in Uganda ahead of the 2026 presidential elections. The international community has expressed concerns about the treatment of Besigye and the conduct of the trial. The UN and human rights organizations have called for fair and transparent proceedings. And now, 2 stories outside the African continent. Donald Trump will be sworn in for his second term as U.S. president just before 1200 hours Eastern Standard Time. That's 17 GMT in Washington, D.C. on Monday. Now, the ceremony, traditionally held outside the U.S. Capitol, has been moved indoors due to a forecast of frigid temperatures with a wind chill of minus 13 degrees Celsius. Following the oath of office, Trump will address the nation before he's expected to parade across town to the White House and attend 3 inaugural balls in the evening. About 200,000 supporters are expected to visit the city to mark the presidential transfer of power. In his final rally yesterday, Trump promised to sign a barrage of executive orders on his first day as president. Now, for more of this, I'm joined by our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, what is the latest on the preparations for Donald Trump's second inauguration?
Yes, good morning. That's right. I'm outside the US Embassy here in London. It's not quite minus 8 degrees, thank goodness, but it is a chilly Monday morning. And we are gearing up here for the inauguration. Now, there is several rallies taking place all across London, with different people protesting different things. There's anti-Trump rallies, there's anti-Biden rallies. And here with me today, I have Oz. Now, Oz is of the Workers' Workers' Party of Britain, and you're gathered here for a rally today. Tell us why you've come out on Inauguration Day.
So we have decided to come out here because we wanted to make sure that Joe Biden and his administration understand that they're pretty much the most hated regime that's ever come to, they've overseen a genocide. They have been complicit in it at every opportunity. Joe Biden had an opportunity to get a ceasefire. He chose not to do that. Whereas Donald Trump, without being the president, made a phone call, instructed one of his staff to go to Israel and tell Benjamin Netanyahu, you're making the deal. So for us, after watching the same deal that was put in place in December 23 be accepted in January 2025, that means we didn't have to have the thousands upon thousands of deaths. And we as the Workers' Party are the staunchest party in support of the Palestinian people. There is no other party that has got a leader that has been as supportive to the Palestinian cause and the pan-Arab cause as George Galloway, my party leader. And we're glad to see the back of this regime. I mean, there's no other description other than say that they're evil.
So you're looking forward to a Trump presidency, essentially?
Well, if Donald Trump goes ahead the way he has done right now, which is cause a ceasefire to come into place through just the sheer will of his existence, then yes. If he does the same thing in Ukraine and stops the war there, yes, we're very happy with him. At the moment, he literally is like an archangel of peace, because he's turned around and stopped a warmonger like Benjamin Netanyahu from carrying on the butchering of women and children in Gaza.
Well, what about some of his other policies? I mean, he's going to sign a whole raft of executive orders today that could see mass deportations, that could end care for the people of the trans community. What about your opinions of that? Because the Workers' Party of Britain surely wouldn't be for mass deportation.
Well, we're not actually against mass deportations in America because it's got nothing to do with us. We don't do that over here. However, we don't want people just being able to come to Britain and just come in illegally and stay here illegally. Our party has got the same policy as Donald Trump. If people come here legally, they're welcome to come and stay. If they come here illegally, they're not welcome to stay. And also, we've got a lot of people here at the moment who are part of the Syrian, refugees. Their countries now had that situation resolved. They don't have a government that's against them. They all wanted this government. We think it's time for them to go home as well, because there's just no need for them to stay here because they're no longer being persecuted. So our position on immigration is pretty much the same as it is as Donald Trump's. And that's that's where we stand. We're not a party that wants people to just keep coming over here and continuing that's our rules. That's where we are.
Oz, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. I'll let you get on with the rally. Thank you. So just one of many opinions that are being formed here in London. Like I said, there is rallies taking place all across the city, all day today. And that rally, which is organised by the Workers' Party of Britain, due to kick off in the next few minutes.
Right, and what can we expect from the day ahead? I mean, once the rally kicks off, what do you think would be the mood of the people? What do you think the expectations will be?
Well, yes, like we said, the inauguration starts with some musical events around 2:30 this afternoon. That's Eastern time. And then, that's 2:30 that afternoon GMT. And then because of those bitter temperatures in Washington, D.C. today, the inauguration is being moved indoors. That's historic in itself. And that's where Donald Trump will do his swearing in, and then he will give his speech. Now, the speech he gave in 2017, his inauguration was about 17 minutes. So we can expect something about the same, and that will all be about his plans, what he wants to do in the next 4 years. He's signing a whole raft of executive orders this morning. Those will probably be around immigration, those mass deportations that we've had that will be starting apparently this week, but could come, with a lot of red tape and could cost tens, or if not billions of dollars. And so those will be going forward, and he'll probably detail what he will be doing with his executive orders in that his first speech. And then there is the parade all along the Washington Mall. In those freezing temperatures, we're still expecting to see hundreds, if not thousands, of people turn out to line the streets of Washington. And then he has 3 inaugural balls to go to this evening to dance the night away.
All right, our international correspondent, Afia Hagen, thank you so much for the updates. And definitely we have the whole of the day to unpack what the inauguration will definitely look like and, of course, the mood of the people. Once again, thank you. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has extended his congratulations to US President-elect Donald Trump ahead of his second inauguration, affirming that the long-standing special relationship between both nations will continue to thrive. And Trump will be sworn in for a second term in the White House on Monday, which is today, 8 years after his first inauguration. Now, Starmer highlighted the strong friendship between the US and the UK, emphasizing the commitment to work together for the prosperity of both nations. He pledged continued collaboration to benefit people on both sides of the Atlantic. Meanwhile, Trump addressed supporters at a rally on the eve of his inauguration, asserting that they had created a new American majority that would drive the nation toward long-term success. UK politicians, along with other dignitaries, are in Washington for the ceremonies, but concerns linger over the potential global economic impact of Trump's second presidency. Now, following the handover of 3 Israeli hostages by Hamas, Israel has released 90 Palestinian prisoners today, completing the first exchange under a long-awaited truce aimed at ending more than 15 months of war in Gaza. Palestinian prisoners released in the Gaza ceasefire will meet their loved ones on arrival in the West Bank. Now, over the next 42 days, around 1,900 Palestinians are scheduled to be released in exchange for 33 Israeli hostages held by Hamas in Gaza.
مشاعر مختلطة يعني ما بين الفرح الكبير بخروجنا من خارج زنازين الاحتلال وما بين الخوف في انه ايش الواقع اللي بيواجهنا، لانه احنا كنا تماما مغيبين عن الاخبار وعن كل الاشياء اللي بتصير برا، ما بنعرف ولا اي شيء من الاحداث الخارجية.
حكى لنا محامي بس ما كنا متأكدين يعني لأنه ما في عنا أي معلومات كانت، ولآخر لحظة كانوا ينقصوا علينا، وزعوا لنا وجبات الأكل على أساس إنه إحنا اليوم مش مروحين، صاروا يطلعوا بنات ويتركوا بنات بالغرف، والحمد لله يعني طلعونا بس ضلوا يغلبونا لآخر لحظة من التفتيش للقمع، وإحنا نازلين بالنحشن بعافر، غلبونا كتير 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 الحمد لله.
Thanks for staying with us. Now let's talk business. Nigeria has delivered its first shipment under the African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA to Kenya's Mombasa port, coordinated by the Nigeria AfCFTA Coordination Office led by Olusegun Awolowo. The shipment, comprising synthetic filaments from Lucky Fibers Limited, LOSH, a Toleram Group subsidiary, was exported under AfCFTA preferential trade terms. Senior trade expert Olusegun Olutayo hailed the milestone as a triumph for African economic integration and praised President Bola Tinubu's reforms for boosting Nigeria's role in AfCFTA. The cooperation with Kenyan authorities highlights the agreement's potential to foster intra-African trade and drive the continent's industrialization and economic growth. And now to sports stories. Nigeria's junior female Yellow Grains achieved a historic milestone with a thrilling 2-run victory over New Zealand at the ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup. Captain Lucky Paiti was the star of the match as she contributed 18 vital runs off 22 balls before delivering a bowling spell, claiming 1 wicket for just 8 runs in her 3 overs. Paiti's outstanding performance was pivotal in the tightly contested encounter, leaving fans captivated and earning Nigeria a remarkable first win in the tournament. Still talking sports, Team Nigeria dominated the ITF CAT West Central Africa Junior Tennis Championship in Lomé, Togo, emerging as the overall best country. The young stars secured 3 titles in the individual event before delivering stellar performances in the team event. The championship, which featured 9 nations, saw Nigeria claim victories in the under-14 boys and girls team events, showcasing their superiority. The under-16 boys team finished second, while their female counterparts secured 3rd place. Now, defending champion Jannik Sinner battled through intense hit and a 20-minute net repair delay to defeat Holger Rune and secure a spot in the Australian Open quarterfinals. Sinner overcame physical challenges, including a medical timeout for shaking hands and elevated heart rate, to win 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, 6-2. The match also saw Rune receive treatment for a knee issue. With the winner, Sinner extended his streak to 18 match. The 23-year-old is now set to face either Alex de Mina or Alex Michelsen as he continues his bid to defend his Grand Slam title and claim a 3rd major victory. Well, that's all on the news at this hour, but before we go, let's take you through some of our major stories. We did tell you that NLC faults fresh hike, says FG insensitive. We also mentioned President Tinubu, Buhari, others mourn as death toll hits 86. And finally, we told you that clashes erupt in Sudan over reported killings of South Sudanese. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, StarTimes, channel 274, Avro TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Wasugu.